everyone, this is Tom from Dirk Witte Music Store in Utrecht, the Netherlands. Today we are taking a look at one of the most iconic bass guitars, really, like apart from Fender bass guitars. And we have got not just one, but we got two of them, which is actually a very rare case because it's actually just overall rare to get new Rickenbackers in, either bass guitars or regular guitars, let alone two at the same time in the same year, because normally it takes like 5 years for like a Rickenbacker to actually show up, and now we have two. We have two Rickenbacker 4003 bass guitars in a jet glow finish and in a fire glow finish. And like I said, if you ask me, one of the most, if not the most iconic rock bass guitar in history. Me personally, I really love Chris Squire of Yes. Even though I'm not a bass player, I just think that he's an incredible bass player with some very unique and creative playing style and technique. And he's known to play like a Rickenbacker 4001 bass technically, but with this same body style and same type of configuration or like similar. But apart from him, Paul McCartney, Let Me Kill Mr. The guy from Thin Lizzy, I forgot his name. I'm sorry, but a whole lot of bass players at some point picked up a Rickenbacker bass, and oftentimes that would then be a Rickenbacker 4003 bass guitar. So, incredibly iconic bass with also a very iconic sound that really does not sound like any other bass. That is what just makes these the more cool. Like, they really have their own sound and their own tone, and yeah, it really cannot really be replicated by anybody else other than Rickenbackers. So yeah, super stoked to have two of them in the shop, brand new, like I said. So yeah, let's go over the specs. I'll just put the jet glow down for now and use the fire glow 4003 to talk about this. So the specs, starting off with the body, that is a maple body, which then consists of two maple wings, and then the centerpiece is actually also the neck, because it is a true neck through construction. So these this entire piece of wood goes from like this bottom strap button all the way up to the top of the headstock. That is then the entire neck, and then also at the same time the middle part of the body, which is then also made up out of maple, as well as a walnut center strip going all the way across. It has like a flat top, as we can tell, with binding, just some single ply white binding, and then on the back we've got a little bit of contouring going on over here on these sides, so that it is a little bit more comfortable on your lap, as well as while you are standing up. Obviously in a beautiful iconic fire glow finish, which is Rickenbacker's Sunburst, as we can tell, kind of like this lighter shade of Sunburst, looking super sweet and very classic and iconic. Also there on the back of the neck, as well as on the face of the headstock. And the jet glow one is basically just black. Pretty simple. So black all the way across, back, neck, headstock, all black. So quite simple. Moving on to the electronics of the very iconic sounding Rickenbacker pickups. These are the high gain Rickenbacker bass pickups, and these are kind of recognizable by the Allen key pole pieces or pole piece screws, as well as these almost like toaster pickup lines, these black lines that you see over here that appear to be made out of plastic, but then they have this metal casing on the outside. And they sound incredibly punchy. They sound really great, and it's very cool to have two of them so that you can get a whole range of tones from this incredibly cool bass. You really get those also iconic Rickenbacker tones from this, which is to be expected, but just to confirm, you can get those sounds from this very bass. We have then got also this very interesting kind of casing when it comes to the bridge pickup, which is then also has kind of like a thumb rest almost, implemented here, so it has a little bit of a hollow spot right here so that you can rest your finger. And then the rest of the casing, not 100% sure what that does, if it even has a function, but it is there and it looks super cool. Also kind of like to go back to the original design for the Rickenbacker 4001 and 4003 bases. They will also have like a pickup cover over the bridge pickup. So maybe it's kind of like to emulate that kind of look. Moving on to the bridge, that's also a unique Rickenbacker design, which also has a mute built in, which you can then heighten using these screws that you then turn, and then this piece of foam comes up, and then you can mute your strings. So there's a piece of foam over here underneath the strings, and then you can heighten that and you get a muted bass sound. So that is also a very unique and very cool Rickenbacker design from also way back in the day. And to then still have that on your new bass, that is only the more cool. And this is also just a very, very robust design with these saddles, which are also then adjustable, intonatable. They seem to have like kind of roller saddles almost, so that the bass strings run smoothly over the saddles. And yeah, it also looks very cool if you ask me. Moving on to the controls, actually quite simple. So 3-way pickup selector switch and a volume control for each of your pickups, as well as a tone control for each of your pickups. But what is also cool about this newer 4003 bass, or these basses, is that both of them feature this push-pull tone control, which then, like the little sticker says, gives you the option of having a standard tone or a vintage tone. So if you have it pulled up, you activate the vintage circuit. So, and that then does sound a little bit more mid-rangey and a little bit less low end. Still, obviously, a very great bass tone, but it sounds definitely a little bit more vintage voiced. So it's actually very cool to have that just pre-installed. Yeah, just both modes just sound really, really good. Still then got the original product made, or proudly made in the USA sticker over there. And then your white pickguard, just simple single ply material. You also then got your Rico sound input over here, as well as a standard output. So Rico sound is basically just stereo, to my knowledge, but that is not all that popular, so most people don't ever use that, because then you need to have 2 amps and do all of that kind of hassle. Yeah, obviously today I'll just be using the standard output. Then moving on to the neck, like I said, neck through construction, so the same woods on the back of the neck as you see in the body, so maple and walnut, center strip. And then on the back of the headstock, you can see also those wings that are then actually seem to be made out of walnut. So the wings are completely made out of walnut, so kind of like the darker wood. You can also see that wood grain being quite different when it comes to the look. But it looks super, super killer. Also there with that super cool looking Rickenbacker truss rod cover with the logo. The fingerboard's made out of rosewood, and in Rickenbacker fashion, it is lacquered, so you've got a glass finish over your rosewood fingerboard, and then obviously also the very, very iconic shark tooth inlays that are acrylic, and it is then also bound with some single ply binding. Got a Bakelite nut, which is also Rickenbacker fashion, and the nut width is then 1 inch and 11/16 of an inch. And then at the 12th fret it is 2 inches and 1/8 of an inch wide. So over here at the 12th fret it widens up a little bit. Like I said, the Rickenbacker truss rod cover over there with also your Made in USA reading there. And then on the back, these very, very good Rickenbacker branded open gear bass tuners that do their job really, really well. This being brand new, obviously also comes with a hard shell case, both of them obviously with all of your goodies. More photos of that on the website. And yeah, just super stoked to have not just one but two Rickenbacker 4003 bass guitars in the shop. Like I said, like one of the most, if not the most iconic rock bass, if you ask me. The tones that you get from this do not sound like anything else, like only Rickenbacker pulls it off. And yeah, it sounds awesome. So yeah, let's then hear what it sounds like. But first, if you're interested in either one of these Rickenbacker 4003 bass guitars, be sure to head over to the links in the description for further details. If you enjoyed this demo, be sure to like the video and to subscribe to the channel for more cool weekly demos of very cool bass guitars. Not all that many bass guitars, but sometimes we do have bass guitars that I didn't show on the channel, but also plenty of very cool electric guitars and acoustic guitars. Also be sure to like us and to follow us on our socials, Instagram and Facebook. Links are also in the description. So that being said, let's hear what these awesome Rickenbacker 4003 bass guitars sounds like, how they sound. Probably just going to swap through the demo, like maybe just for the bridge pickup, go for the Fire Glow, and then for the neck pickup, the Jet Glow, and the middle position, I'm not sure yet. We'll see. But I will be plugging it in through this very cool MPEG B25 amplifier, bass amplifier from the 1970s. That sounds really great. It's like a head and a cap, and yeah, sounds killer. So let's move on to that part and let's take this really awesome Rickenbacker 4003 bass guitars for a spin. you.